you know, you almost kind of figure when the lineups dropped today what today was going to be about. The Chicago Cubs losing a very winnable game, a game where you have your starting pitcher putting on a clinic, a game where you make dumb decisions that end up costing you that game. Mm. Well, that's the story when Craig Counsell is your manager. We got to talk about it. Let's go. Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of Chicago Cubs Central, your number one spot for all things Chicago Cubs. I'm your host, Mike Jones. Thank you so much for tuning in and for watching. Listen, if you love this content that we're putting out, if you love the Chicago Cubs, go ahead and hit that like button. If you want us to put out more content, if you want to watch along or you want something like that, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If this is your first time watching Chicago Cubs Central, also please make sure you hit that subscribe button. And of course, make sure you share this podcast with everybody else out there that you know that Chicago Cub fans that want to know more about the Cubbies. Listen, we are headed towards the postseason, and the Cubs have a 90, I think what was last I checked, it was like 99.7% chance to make the postseason. So outside of a real fall off, the Chicago Cubs will be in the postseason. Now, where they end up in the postseason, who they end up playing in the postseason, well, that's all a different story. That's all unknown. But I do think the Chicago Cubs, have put themselves in a nice position as far as getting back to the postseason for the first time. But I want to go back to something. I want to go back to a comment at the end of last season that Craig Counsell made. Craig Counsell said that this club, this organization, this team should be all about winning division titles. That was the quote from him. This club, this team should be all about getting into the postseason, about winning division titles, about vying for division titles. That was the comment that he made at his wrap-up press conference of last year. And he was like, we didn't hit that mark, but we're going to do everything we can this winter to put ourselves in the position to be able to do so. You go out, you sign Kyle Tucker. You go out, you get some bullpen pieces. You go out, you trade, you get a couple pitchers. You have a okay start into an amazing first half of the season. And you go to the deadline and you're like, hey, there's holes here that we need to fix. Those holes don't get fixed. And we've seen what this team looks like with those holes. But my problem isn't with the holes that didn't get fixed, because I don't believe that's as much on Craig Counsell as that is on Jed Hoyer. My focus is on the decisions that that Craig Counsell is in charge of. Batting order, starting pitching rotation, who gets to come in off the bullpen. You have a one-run lead. Cade Horton is dealing out there. Very winnable game. Very winnable game. He pitched 5 shutout, no-hit innings. And then you decide to put in Ben Brown. And shit just goes downhill from there. It just goes downhill from there. I think that, the Chicago Cubs really have to figure out what they want to be as an organization, what they want to do as an organization, who they want to be as an organization. Granted, you're without Kyle Tucker. PC also had the day off. So you put Willie Castro out in center field, and you DH the new guy they just said, Carlos Santana, that you just signed. And I look at these choices and these decisions that are made, and I just say to myself, you didn't put yourself in the best position to win this game, Craig. And to be quite honest with you, I feel like Craig Counsell don't even second guess himself. I feel like he has a team that looks at the analytics, maybe goes over to Chat GPT and is like, hey, type in these people, type in who we're facing, type in our team and who's pitching for the other team, and let them decide who should be in our batting order today. It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. Kate Horton in his exit, I mean, not an exit interview, but his interview after the game, he said, I'd much rather be healthy for postseason than go out for the 6th or 7th inning in early September. So his thought process, and I'm assuming he's covering for his manager, the thought process was, hey, you did 5 shutout, really good job. Now let's see if the bullpen can toe the line and get us the W. They couldn't. They couldn't. And now, instead of having 81 wins and 59 losses, we have 80 wins and 60 losses. And I put this again on Craig Counsell. You're in must-win mode unless you have conceded that you are not going to catch up to the Brewers and win the division. Because if your pitcher is out there and he's dealing like this, there's no way you're telling me another manager is taking him out. Until he drops that lead or until that game is tied, you leave him out there. You let him run or until he hits his 100 pitches. You let him do his thing. But you can't tell me that it makes sense to pull him in the 5th inning with 75 pitches and a 1-run lead. And then the second thing that makes me second guess you is the person that you chose to put in after him. Now, I get it. I understand. Brad Keller has worked a lot. I understand Caleb Thielbar has worked a lot. I understand that Andrew Kittredge has seen a lot of innings since he's been with the Cubs. But, baby, it's postseason time now. None of that stuff matters. None of that stuff matters. I said on a previous episode that the Chicago Cubs have to start treating these games in September like they are October games, like they are postseason games, because that's the only way that you're going to get any rhythm going into the postseason. That's the only way you're going to get any rhythm or a chance or opportunity to really stretch your stuff and show what you can do in the postseason, which you're more than likely looking at facing the freaking San Diego Padres that have geared up for the postseason, have a really, really, really good roster. Not only do they have the hitters, but they got the pitchers too. Chicago has to figure it out. And more importantly, Craig Counsell has to figure it out. In the next segment, we're going to talk about Craig Counsell and what your confidence level is in Craig Counsell. And we're going to measure him against another Chicago coach who just got paid big bucks to come here and to play. But first, got to hear about Dubby. What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Mike Jones, here from Chicago Cubs Central, your number one spot for all things Chicago Cubs. And I'm here to talk to you about a product that has changed my life and is changing lives all across the country. That's right. What am I talking about? I'm talking about Dubby. What is Dubby? Dubby is an all-natural ingredient that helps with energy and also helps you to be able to get done what you need to get done. It helps with focus, with energy, and helps you to power through even the toughest of days. That's right. I know you may think to yourself, Mike Jones, how could you possibly run 2 podcast channels, run a private business, work a full-time job, have a family, as well as do all the other extracurriculars that you enjoy doing? Listen, man, I'm telling y'all my secret right now. It's Dubby. Dubby has helped me so much. It not only helps me with energy to stay up while I'm at work instead of taking those midday naps. Instead, I take Dubby, and not only does it help me power through my work day, but it also helps me to be able to be my best version of myself when I get home for my family and for all of you when I'm recording my podcast. That's right. Dubby Today can help you in so many different ways, guys. Listen, all you got to do is go online, search today for Dubby. You can be better. I love Dubby because it's jitterless energy and it helps so much. They have so many different unique flavors that you could only find through Dubby. And on top of that, it's made right here in the USA. Dubby has zero sugar. Dubby is gluten-free. Dubby has no hidden ingredients in it. It's all fresh, all clean. It is the good stuff for you, made right here. And like I said, the drinks themselves, once you buy a jar, the drinks themselves basically come out to about $1 per drink when you make one. I take one, I put some cold water in my Dubby tumbler and I shake it up and I'm going about my day. And I've had so much success since. It's also helped with my focus. I'm telling you guys, if you don't use Dubby, you are missing out. And guess what? Today, when you choose to use Dubby, if you go to the Dubby website and you type in Cubs Central Pod 2024, when you place your order, you get 10% off today just for using Cubs Central Pod 2024 when you place your order. Guys, listen, I don't know what you're waiting on. Dubby has changed my life. It can change yours too. All you got to do, head over to the website. They have so many different flavors. Place your order and then press Cubs Central 2024, Cubs Central Pod 2024, and place your order today. Don't miss out, or else. All right, so the Chicago Cubs are headed to the postseason for the first time since 2020, the COVID season. More than likely, okay, more than likely headed to the postseason. Let me not jump the cart before the horse. Anyways, more than likely probably headed to the postseason. But there's still work to be done left in the month of September. You are 5.5 games back of the Milwaukee Brewers. There's still much baseball left to be played, and you do play a lot of teams that are under 500. The Chicago Bears recently hired Ben Johnson to be the head coach and really the CEO of the Chicago Bears for the upcoming season and for the foreseeable future. And they really gave him the keys to the kingdom. I think Ben Johnson has keys to the kingdom that Craig Counsell doesn't have. I think but I do want to pose this question. I heard a conversation about it, and I just wanted to bring it here to this channel. Who do you think has more pressure to perform in September, Craig Counsell or Ben Johnson? Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are. Obviously, for Ben Johnson, you want the Chicago Bears to get off to a great start. You want them to have to win some games here. They have some very important games coming up. In fact, you play two division rivals, the Vikings on Monday Night Football to start the season, and then of course you play the Detroit Lions after that. And then if you look here at Craig Counsell, September is where you really want the Chicago Cubs to catch their stride and begin to cruise into the postseason on a heater. You play teams again that are under 500 that will not be in the postseason, primarily outside of the New York Mets. So you look at this and you say to yourself, the Chicago Cubs really have a chance here to gain some ground, win a bunch of games, and be successful in the month of September. You look at the Chicago Bears, and you say, well, the Chicago Bears have a tougher schedule, but the Chicago Bears could definitely shock some people and shock the world if Ben Johnson comes out and has them prepared. So my thought is I'm still going to say Craig Counsell, I think, has more pressure on him. He has not performed well. Obviously, his first season, the Chicago Cubs did end with a winning season, but missed the postseason after a collapse. And the offense just went dead, which kind of happened again this year. But like I said, it's way more likely the Chicago Cubs will, especially with having 80 wins at the beginning of September, way more than likely the Chicago Cubs will catch at least a wild card spot and make it into the postseason. However, when you get into the postseason, which the postseason is still in September because the wild card games start at the end of September, y'all. So, like I said, you're not getting out of the month of September without at least one wild card game, Craig. It's up to you to perform. And I think the pressure is on Craig Counsell. He has to perform. He has to do better for this team. He has to make better decisions. I don't trust his decision making right now. I don't. And that's a shame because, like I said, he is, so highly respected around MLB and thought of to be one of the great coaching minds or managing minds around MLB right now. But unfortunately, I have no trust in him right now. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. Also, your pick to perform player of the game was Cade Horton, who pitched 5 innings, allowed 0 hits, allowed 0 walks, allowed 0 runs scored on 75 pitches. Again, like I said, I don't get it. 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 Some of the decisions he makes leads me to believe that he just be punting games, like in certain games, like we won to, we'll take that, and then whatever happens in the third happens. I just don't believe in leaving stuff up to chance. I just don't. So, and then last but not least, let's look at the Chicago Cubs versus the Washington Nationals as we close today's episode. They will play the Nationals starting Friday at 1:20 in Chicago. An opportunity to, again, take another series that you should win. The Chicago Cubs have a chance to win all 3 of these. The Washington Nationals have only won 56 games this season. They're 56-83. The Chicago Cubs should take full advantage of that and whoop that ass. We'll see if they do. When the 1:20 game is on Apple TV Plus. The Chicago Cubs versus the Washington Nationals. It's going to be Javier Assad on the mound going up against right-handed pitcher Jake Irvin, who is 8-10 with a 5.42 ERA. And then, of course, it's Matthew Boyd, who is 12-7, still trying to make a late bid for that Cy Young award, going up against Brad Lord, who is 4-8. And then last but not least, you will have the Colin Ray pitching for the Chicago Cubs going up against the undecided pitcher for the Washington Nationals on Sunday. All these games are 1:20 games. The Chicago Cubs will then take off from there, and they do another 3-game set with these same Braves all over again. It's the same schedule and the same people pretty much pitching. Outside of the fact that we will see Chris Sale on next Wednesday. So, like I said, we'll have to see what happens with that. But outside of that, man, like I said, the Chicago Cubs got to figure it out. We'll see what they do. But yeah, I appreciate each and every last one of you guys for tuning in to this episode. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe if you're watching on Spotify, if you're watching on Apple, if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching wherever you're watching. Listen, I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you. Make sure that you leave a 5-star review. And also make sure that you hit that like, share, and subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you don't ever miss a brand new episode of Chicago Cubs Central. Remember, this is your number one spot for all things Chicago Cubs. Go Cubs, go. Peace.
Thank you for watching another episode of Chicago Cubs Central, the number one spot for all Chicago Cubs content. Remember to like, share, subscribe for more Cubs content.